You think getting a higher salary will make you rich. That's the lie almost everyone is taught to believe. Get a better job, get a promotion, make more money, and eventually you'll be financially free. Except there's a problem. Millions of people are making more money than ever and still feel completely broke. They get a raise, celebrate for a week, and then somehow end up with the exact same amount of money left at the end of every month. Sometimes even less, because your salary isn't necessarily making you richer. It might actually be keeping you trapped. Imagine you make $50,000 a year. You're struggling, but you manage to survive. Then your boss gives you a raise, and suddenly you're making $65,000. You feel like you've won. You start thinking about what you can finally afford. Maybe a nicer apartment, a better car, more dinners out, a few vacations, a new phone. Nothing crazy. You're just finally letting yourself enjoy the money you worked so hard for. 2 years later, you're making $75,000. And somehow, you're still broke, so you work harder. You get another promotion. Now you make $90,000. And guess what? You're still broke. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the quietest ways people destroy their financial future. The problem isn't that you're spending money. The problem is that every time your income increases, your definition of normal increases with it. When you were making $50,000, your $1,500 apartment felt expensive. At $75,000, suddenly $2,000 feels reasonable. When you made $50,000, your used car was perfectly fine. After the raise, suddenly you need a $35,000 car because you can afford the payment. And that word, afford, has probably destroyed more wealth than people realize. Because being able to make the monthly payment doesn't mean you can afford something. It just means the bank is willing to let you borrow the money. A $600 car payment doesn't feel like $36,000. It feels like $600. And that's exactly why it works. Your brain is incredibly good at adjusting to new expenses. Give someone a bigger paycheck and they don't automatically become wealthier. They simply start building a more expensive life. And once that life becomes normal, going backward feels impossible. That's the trap. You don't feel richer. You just become more expensive to maintain. And this gets even worse when you start comparing yourself to other people. Because your lifestyle isn't determined only by how much money you make. It's influenced by the people around you. If everyone in your social circle drives expensive cars, travels 3 times a year, eats at expensive restaurants, and lives in nice apartments, suddenly your perfectly reasonable lifestyle starts feeling embarrassing. You start thinking you're behind, so you upgrade. Not because you need it, because you don't want to feel poor around people who might actually be broke too. That's one of the strangest things about modern money. Some of the people who look rich are drowning in debt, while some of the people quietly building wealth look completely average. You see the car. You don't see the loan. You see the vacation. You don't see the credit card balance. You see the house. You don't see the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs, and interest. You see the lifestyle. You don't see the financial cost of maintaining it. And this is why a 6-figure salary can still leave someone financially fragile. If you make $100,000 and spend $98,000, you are not financially free. You simply have a very expensive version of the same problem someone making $50,000 has. Meanwhile, someone making $60,000 who spends $45,000 and consistently invests the difference might be building far more wealth than you realize. Wealth isn't what you earn. Wealth is what you keep and what that money eventually becomes. Think about it this way. Every dollar you spend today is not just $1. It's also the future value that dollar could have created if you had invested it instead. Spend $500 every month on something you don't really need, and you're not just spending $500. You're giving up every future opportunity that $500 could have created. That's the part nobody sees. Your bank account only shows the money that left. It doesn't show the future wealth that never existed because you spent it. But there's an even bigger problem with chasing a higher salary. The more expensive your life becomes, the more dependent you become on that salary. And suddenly, your promotion isn't just something you want. It's something you need. You can't afford to lose the job because you have a bigger mortgage. You can't take a lower paying opportunity because of the car payments. You can't start a business because your monthly expenses are too high. You can't take 6 months off because your lifestyle requires a paycheck every 2 weeks. Your raise was supposed to give you freedom. Instead, it gave you more things you have to protect. That's why some people who earn less actually have more freedom. They have fewer financial obligations. They can say no. They can walk away. They can survive a bad month. They can change careers. They can take risks. They have something much more valuable than a big paycheck: breathing room. Now, I'm not telling you that earning more money is bad. It's not. Increasing your income is one of the most powerful things you can do financially. The mistake is assuming that every increase in income needs to become an increase in spending. Imagine you get a $10,000 raise. Most people immediately start thinking about what they can buy with it. Instead, imagine you never receive the raise at all. Keep living almost exactly the way you were living before. Take that extra money and automatically invest a large portion of it. Suddenly, the raise isn't buying you another subscription, another restaurant bill, or another monthly payment. It's buying you future freedom. And this is where the game changes. You don't need to become extremely cheap. You don't need to stop enjoying your life. You don't need to live in a tiny apartment and eat rice every day while secretly hating yourself. You just need to create a gap between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is where wealth is built. If your income goes up 20% and your lifestyle goes up 20%, you haven't really progressed. But if your income goes up 20% and your lifestyle only goes up 5%, you just created a massive opportunity. And the best part is that nobody has to know. You don't need to look richer. You need to become richer. Those are two completely different goals. Looking rich requires constant spending. Becoming rich requires patience. Looking rich gets you attention today. Becoming rich gives you options tomorrow. So the next time you get a raise, don't immediately ask yourself, what can I finally afford? Ask yourself, how much of this can I keep? Because your salary isn't the thing that determines whether you become wealthy. Your ability to resist turning every raise into a more expensive lifestyle is. The goal isn't to make more money so you can spend more money. The goal is to make more money so you need less of it to live the life you actually want. Your salary can absolutely change your life, but only if you stop letting your lifestyle change at the exact same speed.